the ancient volumes from Uldaman. You guys have been asking me to read these for like fucking weeks. So, Observational Report Earthen to My Staunchest Allies, Edicts of the Prime Designate, Volume 742. Wreckage Analysis Report. Progress Report Uldoros. Observational Report Earthen. Fellow Watchers, when you were assigned to observe the state of our Titanforge subjects who regretfully fell under the influence of flesh. It's an interesting way to word that. They don't call it the curse. The Keepers could not have anticipated the effort necessary to follow them as they spread throughout the world. I shall do my best to ensure your perseverance is recognized, but for now, you are to continue your duties until a new directive is authorized. It's apparent from your reports that the degree of transformation in Titanforge subjects is significantly diverse. There's no group in which this variance is more easily observed than the Earthen. While some have succumbed entirely to the malady, such as the Earthen who emerged from Uldaman and called themselves dwarves, others remain resistant, whether in full or in part. One particularly notable variant can be found in the Earthen contingent dispatched to investigate the fissure detected in Sector AR-938. For further details, search records related to geological anomalies. Sector AR-938. It's a fissure. In the course of their duties, these Earthen began to manifest behaviors analogous to those which would one day be apparent in the self-styled dwarves, despite the two groups being separated by vast swaths of time and distance. In fact, based on their origin dates, I could identify no corollary at all between these populations. Yet while their behaviors, language, and demeanor show many similarities, for example, assigning Sector AR-938 the colloquial name Kaz-Algar, physiologically the two groups remain distinct. Is this distinctiveness due to exposure to the unique qualities of the anomaly, or is there another reason? We require more data before a conclusion can be reached. As ever, your aid in this analysis remains invaluable. Remember, we are the eyes of the Titans. Respectfully, Watcher Melania. Who the fuck is that? Who the fuck is Melania? To my staunchest allies, it's a message from Tyr to be delivered upon his death to Ironea or Arcades. I remember this, because he ended up getting chased by a Klaxi. Not a Klaxi. A Cathraxi. Kithix? And then he died. Forgive me for keeping secrets, but I instructed Sentinel Taldonris to withhold this message until you had safely reached your destination. If you're reading this, then our worst fears have been realized. I have fallen to our foes, murdered on the orders of the treacherous Loken. But fear not, for I have prepared for this dark eventuality. Along with the discs of Norgadon that you carry, I have hidden another disc that holds a record of my own memories. Talandris will ensure it's safeguarded within the depths of Uldaman until such time as it can be safely retrieved. I fashioned the Refti to be unquestionably loyal to me. What are Refti? Refti are a Titanforge race created by Keeper Tyr to work in harmony with dragonkind, built in the image of the dragons themselves. Fiercely loyal to their maker, the Refti were sometimes sent to distant shores to carry out important missions. In Thaldraszus, they are under the command of Mara, through her personal attendant Zutiki. Yo, those look like those snake dudes from BFA. Sethrak. Before departing Valdraken, I left a gift in the care of the dragon aspects. Though they are unaware of its true purpose, the artifact can be used within the halls of Uldoros to outwit Loken's malignant schemes. When it's safe to do so, bring my memory disk back to Uldoros and retrieve the item I gave to the aspects. You'll know what to do next. Dearest Ironea, and most noble Arcades, I place my trust in you. When we stand together, nothing can overcome our unity. Yours always, Tyr. Uldoros, huh? Tyrhold. Tyrhold, originally known as Uldoros, is a Titan facility atop the Halls of Infusion in Thaldraszus and the Dragon Isles. It's a technological marvel that houses great aqueducts that reach across the valley. It was Keeper Tyr who built the facility after he helped the Aspects fight Galakron when they came to settle in the Dragon Isles. Tyr named it Uldoros, but the dragons started calling it Tyrhold, and the name stuck, much to Tyr's embarrassment. The beacon of Tyrhold at the top was used long ago to conceal them from the rest of the world. Beneath Tyrhold is the wellspring of eternity. What? Beneath Tyrhold is the wellspring of eternity, where Azeroth's lifeblood comes to the surface. Excuse me? The water is taken throughout Thaldraszus via aqueducts and even to the ruby life pools in the waking shores, where the dragons use it to nurture their eggs. Ruby life pools are a dungeon. It's the right of every true dragonflight to have their eggs nurtured by the life pool's waters. As the ancestral nesting grounds of the five flights, the Ruby Life Pools is a sacred place. The red dragonflight whose charge is to nurture all life, protect those pools in the future of all dragonkind to thrive. However, Razageth and her primalists have come to steal the future away and infuse their own powers into the sacred pools. They must be stopped for dragonkind to thrive. A Major Dormo. Oh. Edicts of the Prime Designate. The Halls of Infusion dungeon has water that has been tainted by order magic. Oh yeah, I missed that. Hall of Infusion. Deep beneath Tyrhold lies the Halls of Infusion. Its structure was built upon an ancient wellspring, the waters of which were channeled by Keeper Tyr to feed the life pools of the Red Flight. So you're telling me that Keeper Tyr built a structure that would take the blood of Azeroth and use it to infuse and empower the Red Dragonflight, which is headed by the Lifebinder, Alexstrasza, who is the direct descendant of Aenar the Lifebinder. Now that the Dragon Isles have reawakened, Primalist forces have invaded these halls. Have they come to destroy the facility, or to reveal secrets that Tyr left behind? I'm not going to read through all the dungeon-specific stuff. Edicts of the Prime Designate. They poisoned the water with order. Of course they did. Keepers, it's been brought to my attention that as of late, many of you have become fascinated by the emergence of mortal beings. That is, creatures born of flesh rather than crafted of stone and steel like our loyal Titanforged. While my initial impulse was to eradicate these aberrations before they evolved further, I now believe they may prove useful if properly controlled. Oh, fuck. Yet, even as we guide their development according to the edicts of the Titans, we must always remember that mortal minds are destined to be small and incapable of complex understanding. Therefore, as your prime designate, I must establish a few minor but necessary regulations to govern your interactions with these nascent beings. So this is written by Odin, the prime designate Odin. So I can already tell just by how it's written. Mortal minds are destined to be small and incapable of complex understanding. It's definitely Odin, if I had to guess. First, all historical records documenting the advancements of the Black Empire are to be purged. Paint that age as one of chaos and misery, a pernicious blight that we keepers eradicated. With the old gods locked in confinement, there should be no evidence available to contradict our assertions. Surely, if you care for these mortals, you would not wish to see them led astray into darkness. Thanks, Grim. Ha ha. The advancements of the Black Empire. Interesting. I wonder if that's like talking about what does that mean? Like advancements in their civilization? Paint that as an age of chaos and misery, even though it might not even be true. A pernicious blight that we keepers eradicated. I mean, I just don't know about that. I think about the bug races that worshipped them, and I just can't get behind this. They're like, it wasn't dark and gross and like corrupted and weird. I'm sorry, but like the Old Kingdom shows you that it was pretty grandiose and pretty ornate and pretty, you know, like they were very much structured civilizations. So this idea that like the Black Empire was just like one of chaos and despair, I don't really agree with that. That's pretty crazy. Here we go. Next here, Second, attribute all accomplishments and works of wonder to the Titans alone. Despite the relentless arguments made by some of you, this is not a fallacy. After all, can anything truly be said to exist until it has been ordered? Of course not. Therefore, it is irrefutable that the Titans are the source of all creation. Even though we know that's not true. They are not the source of all creation, but they would like you to believe that, because, like I've told you guys, they're trying to steal the source of creation. Azeroth is the source of creation. Azeroth is God, with a capital G. That's what I think. And they are trying to take her power of creation. That is also to say all accomplishments and works of wonder. So there are accomplishments and works of wonder on Azeroth that are not meant to be truthfully attributed to the Titans alone. That is to say that other beings besides the Titans have done things on this planet that are noteworthy. I have posited in the past that Sargeras has been to Azeroth before, and that the idea that he found it after the Burning Legion, I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I do think that Sargeras had something to do with the original, like, ordering of Azeroth or something way back when with like the dragons or something to that degree. Like, there's no way that he didn't know about this planet. So the idea that maybe someone else could have been responsible for some things that we've seen is interesting. It doesn't have to be Sargeras, but of course that's where my mind goes, especially because he's also a Titan. So, like, I don't know. Third, do not share knowledge of the first ones. Mortals could not conceive of the wonders that the Makers granted to the Titans in Zereth Ordis. Thus, learning of the progenitors would only confuse them. It is enough that mortals know the Titans brought order to the cosmos, and that they are owed deference. Mortals could not conceive of the wonders. That's such a Lovecraftian thing to say. That the Makers granted to the Titans in Zereth Ordis. That's order. That's like it's like Zereth Mortis, but Zereth Ordis, right? So this is like Zereth Mortis is like the origin point for the Shadowlands, wasn't it? Some shit like that, where it was like the point from which like Oribos was built and all that stuff. And so that's basically to say that like Zereth Mortis is like a forge, right? That forged the Shadowlands. It's where the afterlives were made too. It's where they made. That's where they did it too. Where they made them. Makers granted to the Titans in Zereth Ordis. This is like inherently contradictory. It's irrefutable that the Titans are the source of all creation because order is creation in Odin's mind. But then it says mortals cannot conceive of the wonders that the Makers granted to the Titans. So it's kind of funny to me that he says it's irrefutable. There's no evidence available to contradict our assertions of what's gone on. Like, but he acknowledges the Makers granted to the Titans in Zereth Ordis. I really don't like this Zereth stuff. This is why I don't like the Zereth. That's what makes me think first ones are like Halo's precursors in a way, and things like the old gods may be part of the old consciousness. I mean, I do have a video, and we've speculated about before that the old gods are different body parts. Like Yogg-Saron is mouths, Cthulhu is an eye, N'Zoth is well, I guess it kind of falls off after the first two, but the idea is that like they come together to make a being. Zereths are an annoying lore. I think so too. First one stuff makes my eyes glaze over. N'Zoth is brain. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, brain. Well, no. Well, Yasharaj has a big brain coming out of his head too. Yasharaj has like a green brain that you see like in his art anyway. So, I don't know. I always thought maybe they could be part of something. And I think, didn't Steve Denuser... I want to say, I vaguely remember this, that someone had mentioned the old gods and how we should consider, like, we should, you know, are they, might have been Alex Afrasiabi, honestly. Like, are they individual beings, or is there like a grander power behind them, or like what is, you know, what's going on there essentially? Like, is this, do they have individual wills, or is this something that's happening, you know, from something else? Like, it was a while ago, but I remember them saying something like that. So listen to this. Let's finish. While some among you would prefer to argue these points further, such debate can no longer be tolerated. In other words, listen or get the fuck out. I remind you that I speak with the authority of the Titans. Oh, I don't like this line, and any further dissent may cause me to question whether you have succumbed to outside influences. Dude. In other words, if you don't just bow your head and take orders, I can declare you insane, basically, and just get rid of you. Dude, Odin's a cult leader. Odin is literally a cult leader. Like, any further dissent, this is like Scientology. It is, bro. It's like, if you have dissenting opinions, we will literally banish you. Or make you disappear. That's fucking crazy. And then the last line here. Remember, life is chaos. It must be controlled. Yeesh. Yeesh. An ancient tome that smells of burning hair. That's literally I mean, besides the prime designate, which, by the way, oh my god, I love how they paint Odin. It's so good. I love it, dude. He's so arrogant. They're so clever with this. It's his 742nd entry. Think about that. These entries are basically just Odin decreeing this is the way it is, or expressing his thoughts or whatever. He's done it 740 times. It just shows like he's just so full of shit. He's so full of himself. And then that they put smells of burning hair is obviously fitting because Odin has a literal beard made of flame. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And then it says at the end, you know, prime designate Odin. Your leader, prime designate Odin. Ancient volume, wreckage analysis report. We're about to learn about the vessel. Wreckage analysis report, prime designate. I'm writing to confirm that the wreckage discovered on our shores was indeed the remains of our most recent expedition to Avaloran. There were no survivors. This marks the third failed attempt to reach that accursed place in the time since I assumed my post. While I would not presume to question either your authority or your determination, I pray to the Titans that the rumors I hear of a fourth expedition are mere speculation rather than fact. Surely you can see that further pursuit of the heretics is folly. Yes, they must be made to answer for their crimes against Inaria and the other keepers, but their defenses are not to be underestimated. The resources required to breach their lines are simply beyond our current capabilities, at least not without jeopardizing containment of the prisoners in our charge. Though I agree there is risk in allowing their strength to grow, evidence suggests that the aggressive nature of the heretics will cause them to turn on one another and weaken their resolve. If we can be patient, an opportunity for retribution will present itself. I beseech you, Prime Designate, let the fire of your wrath cool, at least for now. Its embers will be rekindled in due time. If not, I fear that I will soon be authoring yet another report of a lost expedition, its final remnants dashed upon rock and wave. With all respect, Watcher Perethales. Okay, Perethales, that's interesting. So, mention of Avaloran, an expedition presumably to a new continent. They've tried 3 times, can't get there. Because the seas are too stormy and crazy is what I understand, right? Schism in the Keeper's Ink is a plot hook. Oh, for sure. I mean, there's definitely been a schism within the Keepers. That's for, I mean... The aggressive nature of the heretics will cause them to turn on one another and weaken their resolve. The heretics. So people that go against the Titans? Surely you can see that further pursuit of the heretics is folly. Who are the heretics? Heretics or apostles are those believing in a practice of religious heresy. Oh, am I really getting a definition of heresy right now? Okay. Okay. Last one. Progress report Uldorus. Repeating, if Avalorn is populated by heretics against the Titans, we have to go there eventually, right? Sometime in or before the last Titan? That sounds like a group of potential allies. Yes. They could be survivors of the Black Empire. Could this be referring to the Curse of Flesh starting? Potentially. I wonder if... Oh man, there's an interesting thing with the Keepers, or one in particular, that chat might be interested to see. Let me finish this last entry here, then link it to me. It was written by Keeper Tyr to inform Loken on the state of the Halls of Infusion in the Uldoros facility. Progress report Uldoros. Brother Loken, as you requested, I offered the following report on the progress toward our objectives. I'm pleased to say that the Halls of Infusion are now operational. Though the work of imbuing order magic into the wellspring is only beginning, I remain optimistic that the process will prove effective. Wait a second. This disproves part... If this is true, this disproves part of Chronicle. This shows you a hole in Chronicle. They manipulated the Well of Eternity from the start, didn't they? It was not an accident. In Chronicle, it says that the Well of Eternity is arcane, orderly. It implies that the well is order, inherently. But if the truth is that in the Halls of Infusion, where a similar wellspring erupted, if they were imbuing it with order, that means that it was not in and of itself order. That's not true. That Azeroth was never a being inherently built from order and arcane. If her blood, at least in the state in which it existed during these experimentations, it wasn't order. Blank Slate Titan? No. I think that she's a very... let me put it this way. I think that Azeroth is like a goddess of creation. Yeah, so... Thesis, in like Greek mythology, primordial goddess of creation, of a divinity related to Physis, Mother Nature. Basically like creator goddesses, female gods responsible for the creation of earth, world, and universe in human religion or mythology. In monotheism, the single god is often also the creator. That's what Azeroth is. Would explain the two colors of Azerite. Well, Azerite... Let me show you something. So let me show you something about Azerite. I want to like show you guys something about a theory of what Azerite is. Let me finish this progress report though. Already we're detecting reduced levels of contamination. I hope your investigation into how Yogg-Saron compromised these living waters will yield answers. They're putting order magic in to try to remove... No, this just shows like the flawed fundamental thinking of the Titans and their keepers. Like, no. How many times have we seen that ordering does not work? How many times are we gonna have to see this fail? How many times? In the meantime, we can be sure that the evolution of another Galakrond will not be triggered by consuming unfiltered water. So Galakrond confirmed just straight corrupted by Yogg-Saron. Once purification is complete, an additional benefit will be found in offering the infused water to dragonkind. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, this went really poorly the last time we did something like this in the Mists of Pandaria, where we tried to use purification methods. It didn't work. It literally didn't work. By ingesting the water, or causing their eggs to absorb its effects, it should be possible to keep even the most willful dragons aligned with the Titan. What? They were giving them fucking... What? They're literally brainwashing them! They gave them brainwashing juice! What? Aligned with the willful dragons. Does that imply that theoretically Neltharion had the strongest will of the Titan aspects? Because even the most willful dragons will stay aligned with the Titan's philosophies. Doesn't that imply that Neltharion had a very powerful will? That's what I believe about Sargeras, that like he's very strong-willed and that, you know, it's about the flame not being snuffed out, stuff like that, you know? About him persevering through like darkness. Alternatively, double corrupted. Well, the eggs, right, which hatch into fucking dragons. Like what? By ingesting the water or causing their eggs to absorb its effects. It does both. It doesn't matter. Whether they drink it or put their eggs in it, it does the same thing. The fire inside keeps you aligned, the fire of justice. Yes, but Neltharion's already a full-grown one. Right, but if he ingested the water, because Neltharion used to be a drake, like time lost proto drake. So if during the process of them becoming aspects, they drank of this water, then this applies to Neltharion. It doesn't matter. So I get what you're saying about like he's already born and he's already like full grown, but this doesn't mean that he didn't drink the water at some point. You know? Neltharion was always off to the north with the Drakthir away from the water. Our efforts to bring the proto-dragons in line, oh my god, I hate this wording, have faced resistance, but I'm formulating a strategy to speed the process along. Oh no! Mind control helmets. Construction of the facility atop the halls of fusion is proceeding apace. Though the station is to be designated Uldoros, I must reluctantly report that the dragons have taken to calling the structure by the name Tierhold. I will do my best to ensure our Titanforged workforce does not also adopt this embarrassing pseudonym. Do you think the Dragonblight Temple... Wait, was Dragonblight Temple built by dragons? You gotta help me on this one, chat. It's been a while. Who built... It's Titanic, isn't it? Didn't the Titan Keepers build Wormrest Temple is what it's called? Not Dragonblight Temple, it's called Wormrest Temple. Because it's right along the path of the Titans in Northrend. I'm almost convinced, actually. I'm like sure of it. Path of the Titans, Northrend. Yeah, it's literally built on the road. Northrend. Wow. Path of the Titans is an ancient north-south road in disrepair, part of the which bisects the Dragon Waste and Wormrest Temple. And I actually believe that I believe the ancient north-south road actually goes all the way south to Uldir as well. In fact, I have a theory where I actually find a broken pathway looking straight north that actually appears to be of a similar design to the Path of the Titans in Northrend. So, if you guys didn't know, there used to be a Pangea in World of Warcraft. It was called Kalimdor, and it was all one. The Land of Eternal Starlight is what it's called. It's Kaldori word from the Night Elves. And when it was sundered, obviously, the world broke apart. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, that it's called the Path of the Titans, which... yeah, I think that's pretty fucking interesting. It must go, you know, and I think I'm going to say this as well. Don't you guys think it's very curious how the Titans have facilities of like all different kinds of like designs? Like, don't you think it's kind of curious how Titans have like Egyptian facilities and they have like Mesopotamian facilities. They have like Mayan facilities. They have Greek facilities. You notice how like not all Titan facilities look the same? Well, if you were to like look at like a timeline of human history and look at all of those different inspirations for the installations and stuff that they built, I think that you could potentially deduce a time theme. And by that, I mean, I think that the Titans over time have actually changed. And that is to say that, like, I don't know that the Titans always looked Greek. The Titans could have once upon a time looked Egyptian. The Titans once upon a time could have looked Mesopotamian. The Titans once upon a time could have looked like gods of the Orient. Like, they're they could have changed. Nothing says that they were always look like Greek gods and stuff. So this just kind of piques my interest because I almost wonder if the path of the Titans is like literally like in a sense, maybe it's, I mean, it could very well not be. Could be stemming down from Ulduar, but it could be almost like a timeline of what they did. Does that make sense? Like if you were to follow from like the most ancient inspirations through, it's like memory lane. Yeah, like a literal roadmap. Yes, like I think that is very possible that, yeah, like you could potentially track the path of the Titans. Like, and I would think that maybe over time they've become more orderly. You know, like I could see once upon a time, maybe the Titans did not have this very confined, strict view of what order is, because I think that you guys might be able to, you guys would understand this, that like order in real life is kind of born from chaos. Like, and this is like a metaphysical quandary and like duality that you find in lots of fantasy, but things in real life are so chaotic that they kind of come together to make something orderly, if that makes sense. Like, order is found through the chaos. And so I almost wonder if fundamentally, like at a philosophical standpoint, there was a divide between the Titans where something occurred where they said, this is how we're going to pursue order now. And they disagreed on that. And I think that that's why, part of why there is this big conflict between them is because I think that fundamentally something changed as far as their philosophy, but that could be completely incorrect. It could just be that World of Warcraft wants to have a bunch of different inspirations from a bunch of different mythologies and ancient societies and civilizations, and that all it's for is for variety and to express the maybe some of the architectural beauty of some of these ancient civilizations, right? Like, obviously, Zuldazar is not fucking El Dorado, but it's basically World of Warcraft's El Dorado, right? So I think it's very cool to see those things represented in the game, and I think they're meaningful. And, like, remember that, like, in BFA, we found out that the Zandalari are, like, the oldest trolls. Like, the oldest trolls. Even older than Dark Trolls, which is fucking crazy to think about. But Zandalari, like, served and worked with the Titans at one point. Like, that's just one of those things where, like, they've interacted with humanoid immortal civilizations for a long time. So how they've changed maybe as a result of that, or I don't know. I just think it's very fascinating. Didn't Zandalari fight the Black Empire? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. The Zandalari did fight the Black Empire. Yeah, they were one of the only, actually, the Zandalari are one of the only empires that was able to stand against the fucking Black Empire because they were so badass. The Zandalari are bad motherfuckers, dude. Honestly, BFA had great lore up until what they did with Sylvanas. It's actually really disappointing because Zuldazar's lore, Prophet Zul, fucking sick, dude. That lore, Uldir, oh, that's fucking sick lore. No problems. You have no qualms from me about that. Nothing. Honestly, World of Warcraft took its darkest turn, no pun intended, with the Sylvanas story arc. And I think that's just what happens when you take... It's like if they took Grahatia and fucked his character up. You know, guys? It's like one of those things where she's such a beloved fucking character for many different reasons. Just like Grahatia, that like if you were to just take him and make him into some evil jackass, like people would be so pissed. So pissed. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with Sylvanas. Glad to see you coming back home, Pyro. I've been patient and enjoying everything else, but I'm so geeked to see your takes. The ultimate lore god. I appreciate you guys so much. It feels good to sit and be able to just talk about it and speculate. You know, it's fun. It's fun. Construction of the facility atop the Halls of Infusion is proceeding apace. Though the station is to be designated Uldoros, they called it Tierhold. I will do my best to ensure our Titan-forged workforce does not also adopt this embarrassing pseudonym, but as of late, they seem to be expressing more and more opinions of their own. In closing, let me underscore once again how fervently I disagree with the assertions of Prime Designate Odin concerning the unsuitability of the dragon aspects. I have every confidence that they will prove fervent allies in our shared goals of keeping the world structured and disciplined. Ever your friend, Keeper Tyr. And you know what? Tyr was right. Tyr is right. How fervently I disagree with the assertions of Prime Designate Odin concerning the unsuitability of the dragon aspects. Well, in a sense, they're both right. Here's what I mean. So Tyr is right in that they did end up being incredible allies for the ends of the Titans going forward. But they also put themselves at risk inherently, right? In doing what they did, they empowered Neltharion to become Deathwing. I mean, he didn't become Deathwing because of this, but what I'm saying is that couldn't have happened. What I'm trying to say is Deathwing can't be Deathwing if Neltharion, if the Drake Neltharion never gets turned into the Aspect Neltharion. That cannot happen. It literally cannot happen. So what I mean to say is, like, they created a safeguard while simultaneously creating the problem that would dismantle their safeguard. It's like Odin is right, but it's like a self-resolving conflict. Like, and it would not have been so if N'Zoth and presumably also Sargeras had not gotten involved to the point which they had. For those who don't know about the Dragon Soul, by the way, before the Dragon Soul was the Dragon Soul, it used to be called something called the Demon Soul, and inside of it was the soul of an Eridar that had been captured, I think, by Deathwing, and infused into a stone that could call upon the, and it's wicked, by the way. If you read War of the Ancients, in which they describe the creation of the fucking Demon Soul, it's metal. Like, basically, Deathwing has this fucking demon chained to a rock and starts chanting at him this spell that literally melts the demon's skin and muscles off of its body. Until the point where, like, the demon's soul is, like, severed from its body and he puts the soul into the stone. It's fucking wicked. The description is wicked, dude. Because the whole time it's talking about how this demon is, like, flailing in, like, pain and, like, cursing at it, like, cursing him in the name of Sargeras and, like, doing all this stuff to basically, like, but, you know, he's pissed because he's basically being, like, excised right now. So Deathwing is, like, fucking excising this demon and, like, puts him into this thing, and it's wicked, dude. It talks about, it is wicked. Like, the War of the Ancients trilogy, which I believe was written by Richard Knack. No, he wrote Dawn of the Ancients. Maybe that's not true. I gotta look back at that. But anyway, I don't know what I'm getting at, but let's finish this. In closing, let me underscore once again how fervently I disagree. Oh, I did read this. Okay. I have every confidence they'll prove fervent allies in our shared goals of keeping the world structured and disciplined. Yeah, I don't like that at all. So yeah, these definitely give some additional context to the conversations between Tyr, Loken. This actually could be part of the reason why Loken turned. This is very, very interesting. I'm glad I took a look at this.